What scam did you fall for? When I was 11, I signed up at genealogy.de, a page that, supposedly, helps with finding out more about your heritage. I read through the entire AGBs, not kidding, and there was no indication that it had cost anything. A week later I get an email saying I have to pay $60 by the 21st of May of that year. I'm telling you this because what that shit led to was the actual fun part. Since I was only 11, I was scared shitless and decided not to tell my parents. I even did some research on how I, as a kid, could get the money to those people. I was so scared, I scribbled the words "it will all be over" on the 21st of May on my desk at school, which led to me being taken aside by a teacher asking me whether I wanted to kill myself. I explained the situation to her. She told me to talk to my parents and it all ended well. We didn't pay a penny. My father wrote them a "what pathetic people would try to scam a child" email and the thing was settled. Cutco. Well, almost. I passed the interview, but apparently so did everyone else except the first person who I suspect was paid to act like she didn't get in, judging by her exaggerated, woman shrugging, when she walked out the office as she was looking at us to make Cutco scene exclusive. I told my dad and he advised me to abandon ship with them ASAP. One time on RuneScape I fell for the buy limit scam. Some dude said he needed help buying feathers but had hit his buy limit. I myself had just recently learned about the buy limits and been inconvenienced as well, so I sympathized. If you don't play, the guy basically put up his own items at a marked up price on the general market, tricked me into buying them, then dipped before I got paid back and I was stuck with all of his feathers and no money. My college roommate and I fell victim to that magazine scam where people go door to door saying they are selling magazine subscriptions to help raise money for homeless children with AIDS or something. They play on your sympathies and get you to write them a check. Spoiler alert, you never get any magazines nor help any children. I was uneasy about it at the time, but I'm uneasy around people in general, so I thought I was just being paranoid. Years later, we found out this was a common scamming technique. Big light bulb moment for me there. While in high school, was walking through a park and a woman was walking my way. As soon as we passed each other she says, "You dropped something." I turn around and she's holding a gold necklace. I told her it's not mine. She says it's not hers, but agrees that we both found it and I can give her $50 to keep it. I think to myself that it's worth a lot more, so I give Jer $50 just to get home and get scolded by my dad for falling for stuff like this. Turns out it's a well-known scam and I paid $50 for a cheap metal necklace. Instagram had offered a backpack as free and all you had to pay was shipping. Shipping was vastly overpriced but still lower than what I thought the bag was worth. It never came. A man from a gas company said that they were inserting new electricity and gas meters in all the apartments in my block. When I opened the door he walked straight in but showed me his ID, so seemed legit. My shower had been interrupted, so I was in a bad mood and very keen to get rid of the guy. He said he just needed to phone his company for proof from me that he had visited as he was new to the job. It turns out that me confirming this on the phone was a voice signature binding me into a new 2-year contract with this service provider, who then wanted to increase the price of my gas and electricity by 100%. After he left I felt uneasy and searched the company, and then phoned Citizens Advice for help. Turns out they targeted my place because they searched where the students were living as they are more vulnerable. A buddy of mine is really gullible and has fallen victim to many scams. When selling his phone on Craigslist he fell for the old "I wanna buy your phone for my relative overseas, twice shipped the phone both times only to never receive payment." The other scam he fell for was when he got a call saying he won a $500 gift card to Walmart and all they needed from his was his personal information. Surprisingly he has not fallen victim to identity theft. First time in New York. I had to recharge my subway card, and was standing behind a guy on the Metro card machine. A guy walks to me, dressed in MTA uniform, and tells me that I don't have to wait. He asks me how much did I want to put on the card, and says he's got one ready for that. Swipes a card on the scanner. I go in. He gives me the card and asks me for the money. That was when I realized it was a scam, but I feared he would get violent or anything, so I didn't say nothing. Gave him the money and he gave me a card. Needless to say, it was empty. A couple of years ago I was trying to get a good camera. Found a website that had some for really cheap. I wrote some emails. They answered. Phoned them. Talked to a real person. Was told they had some sort of publicity deal and that's how they got so low prices. Mind it, they were good prices, but not too good to be true. Well, I decided to go forward with the purchase and I was told I had to pay via Amazon gift card, and I fell for it. Lucky me, Amazon froze the payment, and returned my money, so bullet dodged. Deaf dude selling pens. Fell for that one. If it hasn't happened to you, or if you don't understand why you shouldn't buy, either the seller isn't really deaf or he is deaf and is just a piece of shit who victimizes himself and the deaf community. Most deaf folks hate these sellers because it makes the community look like weak beggars instead of strong, abled people. Sold something in Craigslist. Met guy in person, did transaction through PayPal. Completely forgot PayPal doesn't protect in-person transactions. Sure enough, couple days later got a PayPal dispute and got $200 taken from me by PayPal. A BBB complaint resolved the whole thing for me luckily. When I was 14, my $25 got scammed by a kid in my age lying about creating our own Minecraft server. Bruh, I was so excited that I couldn't sleep that night thinking about possibilities. I was like 12 or 13 and I was a lonely baby dyke. Went on Omegle. Met a girl who was 17 and lived in California. We chatted for a bit and I asked why her screen was black. She said her sister was in the room so she covered up the camera. I was a little sus at this point but I said okay. Talked a little more. She convinced me to take off my shirt. She told me I was fit, aka number one indicator that you're talking to an old creepy dude. I said no more. Show me yourself now. She said her sister was still in the room. I really wanted to be validated. She told me to do more things. I did them. She ended the chat after I finally stopped believing there was a girl on the other side. Felt terrible about it. You know those fake chewing gum things that shock you if you pull the gum? Yeah. Elementary school kids are evil.